Hey, Falcons Nation, let's face it, our midseason slump isn't just about what's happening on the field. The root of the problem? It starts in the front office. General Manager Terry Fontenot has had some serious misses, especially in free agency and the draft. Before we dive into this hot topic, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for all the latest updates on your favorite team. Now let's dig in because the questions we're asking today are big, and they start at the top. First, let's give credit where it's due. Jesse Bates, Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, and Mike Hughes have been fantastic additions. These guys brought the heat early in the season and kept the Falcons competitive. But here's the kicker. Free agency wins are only part of the puzzle. Championship teams are built in the draft, and this is where Fontenot has consistently dropped the ball. For years, we've struggled with a weak pass rush. Coming into this season, we all knew it was a glaring issue, yet no major moves were made in the offseason to fix it. When Bud Dupree and Calais Campbell left, our already thin pass rush became nearly non-existent. The team decided to gamble on Arnold Ebiketie and Lorenzo Carter, but let's be real, there was little evidence they could consistently pressure opposing quarterbacks. Unsurprisingly, that gamble didn't pay off. And when you look at Fontenot's draft history, it's hard to stay optimistic. Sure, players like Drake London and Bijan Robinson are exciting, but what about the picks after them? Where's the depth? Where are the defensive playmakers? This lack of success in the draft has left the Falcons in a tough spot. Right now, our offense has to be near perfect just to stay competitive, and as we've seen, that's not sustainable. Here's the intriguing part. On Tuesday, the New York Jets fired GM Joe Douglas. Yes, he made some mistakes, Zach Wilson being a glaring one, but he also drafted stars like Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, and Breece Hall. Imagine the Falcons bringing in someone like Douglas to help Fontenot revamp the draft process. Just think about what that could mean for the future of this team. The Falcons seem to have found some stability at quarterback. Kirk Cousins is holding it down for now, and Michael Penix Jr. could be the future face of the franchise. But here's the catch. To fully capitalize on this, the front office has to step up. Imagine if Terry Fontenot had someone like Joe Douglas in his corner to help nail the draft. With the right moves, this team could crack open a championship window that stays open for years. But bold moves require bold leadership, and the question is, does Fontenot have it in him to bring in outside help? This slump isn't just about a losing streak, it's about missed opportunities. The NFC South is wide open, and the Falcons have had chances to take control. Instead of addressing glaring weaknesses like their non-existent pass rush, the team doubled down on offensive firepower. That strategy worked for a while, but now the cracks are starting to show. And when you look at the big picture, the blame falls squarely on the front office. For fans, this is beyond frustrating. We see a team with enough talent to compete, but not enough to dominate. The roster feels like it's stuck in limbo, good, but not great. And that's a dangerous place to be. If the Falcons don't act now, they risk wasting a golden opportunity to win the division and make serious playoff noise. So what's next? Do we stick with Fontenot and hope he learns from his mistakes? Or is it time to seriously consider a shakeup in the front office? Could a shakeup in the front office be the solution? Is someone like Joe Douglas the key to fixing our draft struggles once and for all? These are the tough questions the Falcons organization and we as fans need to ask. Should Terry Fontenot stay in charge, or is it time for a new direction? And would you be on board with bringing in a proven talent evaluator like Joe Douglas to help turn things around? Now let's address the elephant in the room, the Falcons' defense. To put it bluntly, it's been a disaster. The numbers speak for themselves. 26th in scoring defense, 25th in total yards, allowed per game dead last in sacks, and completion percentage allowed near the bottom in almost every other defensive category. With the trade deadline behind us, this is the group we're stuck with. No reinforcements are coming. That means the only way forward is a philosophical shift in how the defense plays. Defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake has taken a lot of heat, and for good reason. His system rarely blitzes, sending 4 or fewer defenders on nearly 90% of passing plays. This passive approach has been a gift for opposing quarterbacks, even rookies like Bo Nix, who have torn the defense apart with ease. The lack of pressure and soft coverage has become a glaring weakness. Opposing offenses are finding way too much time and space to operate. Former Falcons quarterback Dave Archer has called for a more aggressive strategy, tighter coverage, pressing receivers at the line, and forcing quarterbacks into uncomfortable throws. So what's stopping the Falcons from making these changes? Let's be honest, while a more aggressive defensive approach might occasionally give up a big play, sticking with the current strategy feels like waving the white flag. It's just not working. The real question is whether Jimmy Lake will adjust his philosophy or if head coach Raheem Morris needs to take control of the defensive play calling. Standing still isn't an option. Even if changes don't bring instant success, they at least give the team a chance to disrupt opposing offenses. At this point, it's time to roll the dice. What's there to lose? Now let's shift gears to another major storyline, Grady Jarrett's future with the Falcons. This franchise legend might be playing his final games in Atlanta. For years, Jarrett has been a cornerstone of this team, leading with consistency and heart through both its highs and lows. But as we know, even the greatest careers eventually reach their final chapter. The reality is that financial constraints might force the Falcons to move on from Jarrett. His cap hit for next season is a hefty $22.40 million, tough to justify given his recent production. After a season-ending injury last year, Jarrett hasn't quite been the dominant force we're used to seeing. While his contributions often go beyond the stat sheet, the team could save $16 million in cap space by releasing him this offseason. That extra cap flexibility could be critical as the Falcons look to address their many roster needs. Ideally, Jarrett would agree to a pay cut, staying in Atlanta on a more team-friendly deal. But let's face it, these kinds of agreements are rare. Jarrett may decide to test the open market, where a fresh start could be waiting for him. Unless he puts together a dominant finish to the season, the odds of him returning at his current salary seem slim. As we hit the bye week, the Falcons face some major decisions that will shape the future of the franchise. Can the defense make the necessary adjustments to salvage this season? Should the team prioritize cap savings over loyalty to one of its all-time greats? What do you think, Falcons fans? Should the defense go all in with a more aggressive approach, or is such a shift too risky? And what about Grady Jarrett? Should the Falcons save the money or keep his leadership and legacy intact? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps this community strong, and we've got plenty more updates, reviews, and exclusive coverage coming your way. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Falcons!